This is Brian Schwartz from the Central Coast Writers Conference. This is a session preview with Ed Cobleigh. Ed's going to be doing the session on how to get book reviews, which is really a cornerstone of any author's marketing and something that you really never stop trying to get more reviews, because if you're driving people to your pages online, the first thing they're going to do is look at the reviews for the book, which are going to reveal whether or not that book is something they want to pick up. So, Ed, why don't you share with our attendees what they can expect to hear from you at your session?
Okay, we're going to look at the issue of reviews and ratings. I'm going to say reviews, but I really include ratings as well. Obviously, written reviews are more powerful than ratings, but having 5-star ratings is also an objective. And we'll start out by saying what the deciding factors in people wanting to buy your book. These are people who don't know you. These are strangers, and that is two things. One is the book's description on the Amazon homepage or on the Ingram Sparks homepage or wherever it's listed. And secondly is the reviews that are posted by people who have already read the book. And those two things interact. The first can generate the second, but the first can also generate negative reviews. And we'll talk about that as well. Avoiding negative reviews is a matter of managing expectations. If your book description describes one book and your book turns out to be another book or a different kind of book, then you get negative reviews, and people pay real close attention to that. I'm going to talk about spreadsheets, about social media, about hitting up your friends and neighbors and relatives for reviews when they read your book, and how to avoid traps in getting reviews in paying for reviews. Paying for reviews is almost never a good idea. But the bottom line is that if you want good reviews, the number one technique to do that is to write a good book, and write a book that appeals to the readers of the genre in which you're writing. Have your book description accurately reflect that. Have your cover reflect that. And that would go a long way towards people wanting to promote your book for you.
That's a good point, Ed. And the reason I selected Ed is because his book, War for the Hell of It, I think at this point has over 900 reviews. Is that right?
No, 2,000. 2,000 reviews and ratings.
Oh, I was way off. Okay. So an author that's got that many reviews, they're doing something right. I mean, and this was a book that was written a long time ago, and the reviews continue to come in.
They do. And the latest book, And I Live to Tell the Tales, has 500 reviews. So, and it's been
in
out
a very short period of time. It's only been out for a year, right?
A couple of years. Yeah.
A couple of years now.
Yeah. So
you're doing something right.
Well, maybe I can figure out what that is.
And I think some genres lend themselves to more reviews than others. But at the end of the day, I think Ed's right, is that the book cover is essential because people want to associate themselves with something high quality. And the book cover is going to be associated with the review that they post. I hadn't considered that before. But just writing a good book that really sticks. I don't know if you can try to touch on some of the styles of writing that you think have created this emotional connection where someone is then compelled to leave a review.
Well, that's a good point, and I hadn't thought of that, but I will. And the idea is, if your book invokes a emotional reaction, hopefully a good emotional reaction, then people will be more likely to promote it by writing reviews. That's a good point.
It's got to be unique too, something different, because if it doesn't stand out, I think that the bar continues to get raised. Every year the quality of the work being published is better and better, and so you got to be better than your last work. Would you say that it's something that you never really can rest on your laurels on?
Yeah, and there's a trap there, because if you write genre fiction, the readers of genre fiction expect certain standards and certain plot lines and certain situations in that genre. And if you go outside that genre to any great extent, you're going to get negative reviews. If you're writing a cozy mystery and you throw in a steamy sex scene, you can expect some unpopular reviews there, because people who read cozy mysteries aren't interested in raw sex, at least in books. But so you have to be different enough that your book stands out in that genre, but not so different that it breaks the bounds of the genre.
Yeah, and a couple actually things that came to mind too is I always tell my authors the way you get a good review is you put your book in the hands of the right reader. The way you get a bad review is you put your book in the hands of the wrong reader. But then there's also certain topics that some people don't want to touch, because you wrote a book on sexual harassment, right, Ed? And it's been a challenge to get people to associate their names with that because it's a hot topic.
Yeah,
or it's a touch point.
Yeah, the book is on sexual harassment in the military and peregrine falcons. And what I found out was that birders aren't really interested in sexual harassment, and people who are crusaders against sexual harassment aren't into bird watching. So those two disparate elements combined to produce what I thought was a unique book, which is sold okay, but it's still in the red, and I'm still promoting it. And the reviews, when I can get someone to read it, they invariably like it and write a review. But getting that first page turned has been a challenge.
Yeah, I think a good reason to come is to hear the do's and don'ts when it comes to posting reviews, but then maybe have some fun at it and do some of what Ed does. I mean, obviously, it's not torture to you to follow up with these readers. You found some way to frame the job of getting reviews in a positive way that you're able to just continue doing it over and over again, or is that just part of who you are?
Well, it's a little of both. And one of the things I'm going to point out in my presentation is that there are people who feel embarrassed about what they consider self-promotion. They're embarrassed to promote their book. Now, I know that to me that's totally foreign, but there are people who feel that promoting their book is sort of demeaning, and the book should sell itself, and they feel shy or withdrawn about promoting themselves and their book. And I'm going to try to overcome that by pointing out the fact that the reason you wrote the damn book is to have people read it, and therefore you should not be ashamed to ask people or urge people to read your book and to review it.
And Ed, yeah, absolutely. And a special treat for those of you who are seeing this video in time, on September 23rd, Ed is going to be one of our special guests in Morro Bay at the screening of The Blue Angels, which is the J.J. Abrams documentary that was recently up on Amazon. But to see it in the big screen, and then Ed's going to be part of a Q&A panel with George Dom, the Blue Angel from the Navy, and Hal Schmidt, another Top Gun. So I don't know, Ed, if you want to say anything about that part of your life.
Yeah, if people come and watch the video or watch the movie, which if J.J. Abrams made it, it's bound to be good. And afterwards, we'll have a question and answer period. And usually those sort of movies, whether it's Top Gun Maverick or Top Gun or documentaries, generate lots of questions, and we'll do our best to answer them. And if we don't have the answers, then we'll make something up.
Yeah, well, I'm very excited because it's rare to be able to have live Q&A with people who weren't necessarily in the movie, but they understand at an intimate level what is going on in the cockpit of a fighter jet. And Ed is a Vietnam vet, and he saw battle. That's what his book, War for the Hell of It's all about. I mean, you're a legend in a lot of ways, Ed. So I know that's going to be a pretty exciting preview for the conference. And you're the connection that we have to the conference because you're one of our presenters. So thank you for coming to that event.
Yeah, one of the things that most people don't know is when I was in the Air Force, I tried out for the U.S. Air Force demonstration team, the Thunderbirds. And I flew with the Thunderbirds for a week. And at the end of the session, and we had a question and answer period, and that did not go well. And so, and so I didn't make the Thunderbird team, but I flew with them for a week, so I can at least speak to that.
That's very cool. I did not know that. So you're going to have a fun time with George, who went through that whole process on the side of the Navies with the Blue Angels, and he knows exactly how excruciating that is. But it's cool that you tried out for it, and you even got to get up in the air with them, and that you pursued that. So, folks, will have to come to that event on September 23rd in Morro Bay. Doors open at 5:30. The movie will start at 6. Ed will be there also with his books. Ed, you're gonna have a table out front, so people can get personally signed copies from you.
Great, and I'll sign the copies, and if the people hold on to the signed copies in 200 years, they'll be worth a lot of money.